Next, we have Haris Bajwa. He's spent over a decade developing and defending patents for the world's leading innovation companies, including Google, Broadcom, NEC, Alcatel-Lucent, Samsung, and AOL. He has worked as a patent examiner for the United States Patent Office and also for some leading firms in the US. He's based here in Dubai and also has an office in New York, and he will be presenting on blockchain.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are somewhat awake. It's quite a crowd here we have this morning. So what we have here, this session is dealing with emerging technologies and impact on IP. Blockchain is very interesting because it has impacts in two ways. One, it's what you can IP regarding blockchain, and the second is how blockchain can impact the practice of intellectual property in multiple ways. So for those who don't know about blockchain, everybody hears Bitcoin, everybody hears Ethereum, everybody hears in that context, but in a very basic definition of blockchain, it's a continuously growing list of records called blocks, which are linked and secured using cryptography. So it's a shared source of truth. It's distributed, every participant has a copy. It's accurate. There's different mechanisms to verify that it's accurate, and it's immutable, which means it cannot be changed. So once a record is created, it cannot be altered. You can go make further changes to it, but you cannot go back and change the records. So it literally continues, it stays within the history. So what you hear about this mining, this cryptography, all these things, it's verification of certain objects. So as I said, there's two key interplays between IP and blockchain. It's using IP theories to protect blockchain technology, and using blockchain technology to protect IP. The second part is flushed out. The first part is where there's a lot of potential, at least from a commercial aspect, if there's any attorneys here, it's something that you should be thinking about. It's a new field. How do you protect blockchain technology? Much like artificial intelligence, it's a very emerging field, and it's being utilized in a widespread kind of manner. So I just want to hit some key points regarding what you could be thinking about, what you could be doing regarding blockchain. It has most of the implementations that you hear about in blockchain are open source, are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Hyperledger. Again, Hyperledger is just a ledger keeping a record of different information. But I do want to talk about the emerging landscape of proprietary rights. Regarding, this is dealing with USPTO. So this white paper, it's one of the seminal white papers dealing with blockchain. If you're not familiar with blockchain, that's a white paper that you should look at. And then there's, if you Google white paper, blockchain, Berkeley, that's one of the seminal white papers on blockchain. So if you really want to figure out what the fundamentals of blockchain are, that's what you should be looking at and what you should be reading. But if you look, 2005, 2006, all these years, there weren't that many patent filings at the USPTO dealing with blockchain. It turned up in 2014. This data is 2015, 2016, and it's going up. It seems a little bit lower than it might be because, as you may know, in the USPTO, it takes 18 months for publication unless you ask for early publication. So that data may not be actually reflective of the new filings that have occurred, but it is going up. Again, jurisdictionally, if you look, it's US, China, but mostly, again, you can see where China, there's a lot of cryptocurrency happening, there's a lot of mining happening until it got banned about 2-3 days ago. US, of course, it's one of the biggest markets. And what here's an interesting thing to look at is the entities that are seeking IP protection. It's academic institutions, blockchain and cryptocurrency companies, financial institutions, fintech companies, technology corporations. So I guess to pull back from this, we know who's doing it. What are they trying to protect? Because again, blockchain itself, the concept cannot be patented. So many of this, sometimes it's protocols, sometimes it's utilization of blockchain technology to do their processes. Companies such as, there's authentication, encryption, mining, payments, smart contracts. Bank of America is doing a lot of filings. They're one of the top 10 filers in blockchain. PayPal is, IBM is. So it's literally, they're delving into it. Still, there's not too many patents out there. It's a field which is interesting, and there's a lot of potential. And it's imperative to figure out where your potential clientele fits into these domains and where you can protect their IP in the context of patents. Now, it does create a lot of interesting aspects. For example, future impact enforcement issues. Blockchain, again, is by its very nature is decentralized. It's a global concept. So how do you enforce it? Let's say you get a patent on it. How do you enforce a blockchain concept to something which is decentralized? Where it becomes, again, interesting is the fact when companies, corporations, large entities are utilizing these and leveraging this technology. So for example, if Bank of America is, or Consensus, which is one of the biggest Ethereum-backed companies, when they do it, and if you have that technology patented, you can go to them for licensing. Of course, because of decentralization, there are aspects that you won't be able to enforce, but just as right now, there might be software violations, but every time it's not litigated all over the world. So that's, but it does have an enforcement aspect to it, that every aspect of blockchain technology, even if you have patents on it in a particular country, because it's decentralized, you may not be enforced. But again, if it becomes financial institutions are all tied together. So in that kind of a context, it is. Again, it's leading to increased patent filings and will continue to lead to increased patent filings. It does make it important that companies which do utilize blockchain in their business model should have an IP strategy. What they're using, is it open source? Is there any aspects to it which might be patented? Because again, even though it's decentralized, if you have something, if somebody has US patents and you operate within the US and use blockchain, it could have impact. It's something that people are not thinking about proactively. And the rise of NPEs, well, NPEs exist, but this is something that they've not started. We're just starting to look at patents. Right now, if you search blockchain on Google Patents, you'll see a lot of applications. There are a few issued patents. So as that things move down the road, bigger institutions take on, you will see more active NPEs. Now, the other flip side of that is that's protection using IP, using patents to protect your blockchain protocols, fundamentals, just the baseline, the back end. But the other aspect is using blockchain technology to protect your IP. What does that mean? Is essentially blockchain is, as I discussed earlier, is a very simplistic way of keeping documentation. So in ways, it allows for tracking ownership. So if you have an assignment, it can be tracked as it changes, as you talk about verification and using nodes, and if you start getting to blockchain technology, USPTO could serve as a central node where USPTO could verify that somebody has an ownership. If you get a lien on your assignment or anything like that, it can go onto the blockchain. That way, it's instead of doing an assignment search or anything, you literally go and those records are verified. It's very easy to know who owns what property, what day did it get transferred to somebody else. Essentially also for ease of invention, if you came up with an idea, you just cannot go back and change the records and sign something predated for 4 days ago, 5 days ago, or 2 months back. You cannot just swear back because it's documented. It's on the blockchain. The day you came up with that idea, it could be submitted to the blockchain, and there's a record of exactly when you conceived that idea. Things as smart contracts. Smart contracts is something very one of the more exciting parts about blockchain. It's literally, well, it tries to minimize the use of attorneys, so it may not be great for all of us, but in many ways, what it does is it's automatic contracts. So when certain terms of a contract are met, automatically payments may be made. This could be very interesting in the context of IP, for example, copyright licensing. Every time a song is played, automatically a certain payment may be made. And using blockchain, it's documented, that contract is executed itself. You're not sitting there signing license agreements and doing this and doing that. It's automatically using technology. So if it gets played on radio, it's detected. Automatically the contract is executed. So in many kind of ways, it automates the processes, it makes it better, makes it faster. So payments, such as licensing fees, integrating data, again, provides transparency. It's immutable. Again, it cannot be changed. So for forensics, you can literally go back and figure out when data was produced. And this is important, again, for trademarks, patents, assignment/ownership issues. It makes a worldwide trademark search easier. It just literally communicates and allows for data presentation to be quicker. And that's just a very high-level way of thinking about two sides of blockchain and IP. If you have any questions, happy to answer. I know a little bit about blockchain, so I can't answer too many technical questions, but thank you, Irfan, and please.